here you go. This is Emily C., my new bestie.
I hate the idea that someone out there hates me. I even hate thinking that Al-Qaeda hates me. I think if they got to know me, they wouldn't hate me.
This stole the show. Emily C. was phenomenal.
There's something you need to know.
What?
You're doing great.
Look at my baby. Here she is. Emily. 10 out of 10. Huge fan.
I see Emily C says 123. I trust her. She's really good.
Listen, Turtle, you gotta watch your language. You gotta watch your language. I'm already live. So you need to follow the FCC guidelines.
She destroyed, left nothing in her path. It was so good.
Good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm Emily C., and today we are talking all about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And I'm very excited to be able to give you this information because I feel like I've been living in these documents and living in this timeline. And I think it's really, really important. So I'm excited to get everything out of my head and into yours. If I seem like I'm going 100 miles an hour at any point during this today, it's because my son has a half day at school on Wednesdays. And I really want to make sure that we get to everything because Kelsey's trial starts on Monday. And the more eyes on this, the better. I'm excited to hear your guys' take on everything. And I just think it's really important. I just wrote myself a few notes like in chicken scratch while I was thinking about what I wanted to say because I didn't want to forget. First things first, this is not a fundraiser, but if you feel compelled to help Kelsey while you're learning about everything that she's been put through, there's two ways that I have that you can help. I think it's pinned. This is my first time ever pinning a comment, but I think I pinned the Give, Send, Go in the comments. I don't know how to check that, but if it's not pinned, it's also in the description of this video. And also in the description of the video, I am partnering with Bay Harbor Beauty to raise money for Kelsey. So if you want skincare products that are phenomenal, you can go to bayharborbeauty.com and enter the code Emily at checkout, and 10% of your purchase will automatically go to Kelsey's Give, Send, Go. Oh, good. I did it. Thank you. And we've already raised over $250 just with that partnership with Bay Harbor Beauty. There she is. So not only will Kelsey have an army of support, but we're all going to look gorgeous doing it. Mother's Day is coming up. If you have somebody in your life that you would like to give a lovely gift to. And if I have time at the end, I want to talk more about Bay Harbor Beauty, but I want to make sure I get to everything first. But I have all my products here waiting to talk to you about it at some point in my life. I will do that. Zach sent $2 and said, can you do that dance to F you, Hank, please? I thought I was in the clear. This is another distraction, and then we're going to get to Kelsey. This past weekend, Meatball Morrissey Sketty Stain opened her house to Kim's fucking 5. And I was like 5.5. Somehow I weaseled my way into this weekend. And I did. I had the best weekend. I had so much fun. Kim did the best recap, so I'm not even going to try. But if you didn't watch that yet, go watch Kim's recap about the weekend. And she passed the part where I did a dance to F you, Hank. So I thought I was in the clear. And then she was like, oh, I have one more thing. So thank you, Kim. Love that. Okay. What else is in my notes? Oh, so what we're going to do today, I started going through all the documents and everything that's come out in her pretrial motion so far. And I was thinking about how it's really important to kind of look at things on a timeline. I think when you start to learn new information in a trial or in these pretrial motions, and it can be easy to kind of place that new information in the context of what you already know, which is fine. But when you go back through the timeline chronologically and kind of like place that event or that information or that email or that text message in the moment that it happened, and you kind of like see it for what people knew at the time, you get a much better, like clearer picture of what exactly was going on. So like for the 911 calls that Broken Baker and his mod Marissa, thank you so much, got us yesterday, we're gonna listen to those in chronologically within the context of what was going on at the time, so spaced out in between the events that were happening. And I think you really kind of like see, yeah, well, I'm not even going to spoil it. We'll see what we see. So yes, and I also wanted to give the biggest, hugest thank you to Kyle Sharkey for making it so easy to get all of the documents that I needed. I think I have like everything that's been filed now in this case, and I've skimmed through it. So also, if anybody has any questions, we're kind of doing like a general overview. Yes, the escalation, exactly. But if you have any questions about more details, there are a couple like very good, there's like a 113-page document that was filed with, one's with the SJC, one's with family court, and those have been really helpful to kind of get more details about what was happening. Oh, one other thing I wanted to touch on. At the very beginning, like when we very first learned about Kelsey Fitzsimmons and what was happening, I remember that there was some talk online where people were saying, you know, like not everything is a Karen Reed trial, not everything is a conspiracy. Let's not like jump to conclusions. Let's kind of wait until all the facts come out. And like, I completely 100% agree with that approach to learning something new. Everything that I have learned about what Kelsey has been put through so far has only made me more sympathetic to what she has been put through. Sympathetic being like the one end, and then like furious and angry and upset at what she's been put through on the other hand. And I have not personally learned one fact that makes me think that anything that has happened to her has been justified. And it really makes me nervous for the way that these systems operate. Yeah, we'll see what you think when we get to everything. But I think like there are, well, I'm not going to spoil it. We're just going to jump into it. So what I made to start, and hold on, I tried to make a layout. Ooh, not in the middle anymore. Hold on. Okay, I tried to make a layout where it was like easy to see everything. So this is the timeline that I made. Oh, also, if you didn't know, Kelsey's favorite color is purple, so that's why everything is purple. And okay, so this is where I started with a timeline starting at the beginning of Kelsey and Justin's relationship and ending with Justin being placed on leave. Spoiler alert, if this is brand new to you. And that's where we are today. And let me think for a second what I want to say. This is the timeline that we're going to go through. I think it's also really important to keep in mind that there's kind of two things happening simultaneously, and they impact each other, but they don't overlap. So it can get a little bit confusing. Like you start to think like, oh, I want to hear about this in the trial. And then it's like, well, this says this part's not going to be in the trial, that kind of thing. So there's the two things happening simultaneously are a criminal case against Kelsey, and then what's happening in family court between Kelsey and Justin. The criminal trial is related to this man, Officer Noonan, and her attorneys in the criminal trial are Martha Coakley and Tim Bradle. And then that's Courtney Healy, Tim Bradle's paralegal behind Martha Coakley. And then I couldn't remember, does anybody know her family court attorney, the one with the good hair? Does anybody know what her name was? I could not remember for the life of me. She had like the best hair. They were outside, the wind was blowing. I want to say it was like Laura or something, but I might have just completely made that up. But she has a separate attorney. So like Tim Bradle and Martha Coakley are not her representation in family court. And that's that. Julie Hess. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I wish I had had time. I'll put a picture and share this with you guys later or something, because you guys, her hair, she just has great hair. And she seems like a really caring and competent attorney. So she's in good hands on both sides. But probably shouldn't have ever needed to be in those hands in the first place, in my opinion. Okay. So this all starts in November of 2023. Kelsey and Justin start dating. Justin is a North Andover firefighter. Kelsey is about to become a North Andover police officer. From what I can gather, it sounds like they had a really happy start to their relationship. And I think that's important for us to keep in mind. You know, we'll hear about some things from the outside, and it's easy to say something like, you know, like, why'd you stay then? Why was this able to go on for so long? But when you think about the foundation that they already had built, she thought he like looks like the perfect man, and they look like this perfect couple. It's the police officer and the firefighter, and like they're both good looking people, and they're building this future together. She had purchased her house, I believe in 2023. So she owned her house, like she was the only one on the deed. And then he moved in with her in March of 2024. The next event, this is from there. Yeah, so they were, sorry. I'm sorry if that was just annoying in your ear. Yeah, until you hear him talk, or until you, like, it's possible that he was acting love bomby, in my opinion. Like the vibe that I get, now this is all in my opinion, the vibe that I get is that he presented himself as the perfect man. The vibe that I get is also that he is kind of a whiny baby, in my opinion. And I think it's hard for somebody who might be a whiny baby to be with a strong, competent woman like Kelsey was. Like, she was 26 and purchased a house in a expensive town, and she was like laying the foundation for her future in a way that it doesn't seem like he has the capacity to do. So that's all in my opinion. Yeah, they were building a life together. The next event on here that, before we get to that, oops, no, I already messed it up. Nope. Well, the next event we're going to get to is when Kelsey, you guys, this is a disaster already. Okay. Kelsey and Officer Noonan worked together at the North Andover Police Department. And they responded to you guys, everything's disappearing. They responded to a call together in August of 2024 that was really devastating for both of them. At that time, Kelsey was 20 weeks pregnant, and the call was to, trigger warning, a mother who was suffering it sounds like she had mental health issues even before having her baby. I was reading a bunch of the news articles about how the police had known her had been to her house a number of times for mental health calls. And that time when Kelsey and Officer Noonan responded together, it was because the mother had taken her own life and the life of her baby. And in one of the documents, Kelsey stated something about how she felt like a lot of the mental health struggles that she ended up having stemmed back to that event. And I think there's a lesson there that we need to make sure, like as a society, that we're taking care of the people that take care of us. If we're relying on police officers and EMTs to respond to devastating calls like that, we need to make sure that we have the systems in place to help them recover, because that I feel for them going through that. Okay, and yes, Melanie, I agree with this. She said, Melanie Gore said there was no blue line for Kelsey. That's what it's starting to seem like. And like that part, I can't quite wrap my head around, like, why nobody had her back, but we'll get there. And Zach, so Zach said, while I always sympathize that her baby was taken, she seems problematic too. And I do want to say, like, I'm not like sugarcoating or glossing over anything. They had some issues in their relationship. In the one of the documents, it goes through a lot. We don't get all the details about the bachelorette party, but there's a lot about the kind of contention between the two of them. And my take on that is, again, like, this was somebody who needed help. It felt like she was struggling with her mental health, and that Justin's take to her on that was kind of like, stop acting like this, like, don't do that. And I think that kind of feedback is fine for like if somebody's acting completely out of character and you're like, yo, snap out of it, like, you're being weird. But when it's something that you're repeatedly kind of like crying, fighting, acting out of character, it's because she needed help. And they needed help as a couple, it seems like. Yes, and that, what's this? And Erica said, no one is perfect, but nothing warrants her 4-month-old baby being taken from her arms. And that's the part that I want to talk about, like, kind of our systems. But okay, so we're back now. We're in May of 2024. She graduates from the police academy. August of 2024 is when that event happened with Officer Noonan. Oh, know what I'm going to need to do? Hold on. Stop screen. I need the audio. This doesn't have audio, but we'll need audio later. But so in some of the documents now, we're hearing about what Kelsey is experiencing at home. So in February 2025, baby C is born. And in May of 2025, Kelsey's first Mother's Day, Justin gets drunk and falls in the shower and yells at her. There's in one of the documents, it says that Kelsey has a video of him yelling at her. Also, there are apparently over 200 home videos or home surveillance videos of Justin smoking weed on surveillance camera. And this feels like I don't smoke weed. It doesn't agree with me, but the way that he is smoking doesn't seem like the way that I imagine somebody who like takes a few hits at the end of the night to like take the edge off. Like, this is a 1-minute video and he's just flying through that. In the documents, Kelsey talks a lot about the different drugs that he was taking or trying to take. And it just sounds like he was trying to get his hands on anything that he could, at any time, not to mention he is a firefighter and they can be randomly drug tested at any time, and he's not supposed to ever be smoking, regardless of what that is. So that's happening. In June, there's another one, nighttime, daytime. This is June 1st. And but they're still like planning their life together, it's like nobody's perfect. No, we're not judging their relationship because of this. I'm not even really judging him because of this, except for the fact that it doesn't look good for him in family court. But he's not the only person in Massachusetts that's smoking weed during the day or at night, and perhaps not even the only person that is on the fire department that's doing this. People struggle with different things. That's not why we're here. But it is important for like the context and knowing what was going on in their life. So they're planning their wedding. It was for October. They were planning to get married in Maine. They're like getting their save the dates ready and sending out their invitations and everything. Everything is still on. They're going to their bachelorette weekend together. Seemingly like everything's just going to continue on as usual. They go to the bachelorette weekend. And actually, let me pull this up. And they fight when they're there. They open recent. Let me see. Okay, so it says in this, let me see what this document even is. This is the SJC appellate appeal to the single justice. Okay, so when they're there, let me share this, stop, share. Yeah, you can't even see that, can you? Okay, so it says in here, that Kelsey was, and this is Justin's account too, which is important to keep in mind. It says Justin met Kelsey in September of 2023. They fell in love very quickly. And then he stated that Officer Fitzsimmons became physically and verbally abusive towards him. Again, this is his account of everything. He said, this is his account, that she had erratic behavior, unstable emotions, violence, aggression. He did not agree with her actions. He says, I tried to clearly communicate with her over time, and that progressively kept going in that same direction, where she continued to be erratic, continued to not have any control of her emotions, and be very physically and verbally abusive. So this is getting into it says, Mr. Alayan recalled people playing lawn games and enjoying themselves. He stated Officer Fitzsimmons became increasingly intoxicated and displayed erratic behavior. Mr. Alayan continuously asked Officer Fitzsimmons to stop drinking. Mr. Alayan stated Officer Fitzsimmons' behavior became extremely erratic. And then this is his quote. And again, I noticed Kelsey is becoming extremely erratic. She starts running around and repeating the same words over and over again. She's yelling, fuckity fuck, fuckity fuck, fuckity fuck, and laughing. I mean, you're saying a whole lot of big things, but then your example is she's running around saying fuckity fuck, fuckity, like, that's kind of funny. And then she ends up saying crusty crab. Again, yes. I don't think, it feels like he doesn't really know how to be a partner. So then the officer says, where was that coming from? He says, I have absolutely no idea. Like, well, did you ask? Like, hey, why are you running around yelling fuckity fuck? Like, I don't know. Maybe it was joke. He says, I can't recall the exact verbatim she was using. She was just overall acting erratic and not making much sense. She was definitely highly inebriated at this point. And at one point she came outside. I was outside with a few people on the porch. I had removed myself from being inside and like, I'm just going to go remove myself for a little bit. And she came outside and wanted everyone to come inside and play drinking games. And I think she even wanted me to like come inside and strip for her. I disregard this. I'm like, I don't want to play drinking games. I don't. I'm not in the mood. I don't want to do that. Like, we're just hanging out. Like, let's just take it easy. Now, that sounds cute for the officer. And again, this is all my opinion. But you're at your bachelorette weekend. Like, okay, maybe the stripping thing, whatever. That was probably a joke. I don't know. But oh, God forbid she like wanted her friends that are there to be drinking to come inside and play a drinking game instead of just taking it easy. Like, yeah, okay. So everyone started casually drinking, and then he continued to try to calm Officer Fitzsimmons down. It's like, well, why don't you just like actually get on her level and have fun? Sleepless Sleuth said he'd rather play smoking games. Yeah, like we've seen now this man going to town smoking. Like, this is not somebody who's like, oh, clutch my pearls. Like, I can't believe it. A drug, alcohol? No, that impacts your ability to think clearly. Like, save it. So then he goes to one of her bridesmaids and he's like, I cannot deal with Kelsey. She's out of control. I cannot handle it. Like, okay, well, it's like supposed to be all the people you love there. Just be like, hey, can you like see if Kelsey's okay? And so at 11, the party started to wind down. Like, you're 27, 26. Like, the party's not winding down at 11 on your bachelorette weekend. But anyways, so then now Kelsey's mad at him. She follows him. They go upstairs. He felt uncomfortable. She was acting aggressively towards him. And listen, I don't mean to like demean that. And I don't want this to come off like Kelsey could have not done anything wrong. But I do think, to me, this doesn't sound like anything outside of, you know, normal couples arguing that I've seen, or that, to me, this doesn't seem like the moment where you're like, this whole relationship that we've built together needs to be over immediately and I need to take your baby and run. He said she was visibly and verbally upset. She was in the room. She started to swear at me. She was calling me names. And then she did try to briefly initially initiate intimacy, which I outright did not. She was too drunk. I did not want any part of that. I wanted to more put her to bed and remove myself from the situation at that point. And her emotions were all over the place. I don't love how annoyed he is at the fact that her emotions exist. I tried to ease her nerves and just keep her calm. After using the restroom, I opened the master suite door and I went back downstairs. I went back downstairs to remove myself from the uncomfortable situation. Yeah, and also she just had a baby. Like that also, your hormones are not stable when you're breastfeeding and you just had a baby and you're probably drinking and you're having fun with your friends for the first time. Yes, she needed help. This is the point. Like she needed support. She needed help. She needed somebody to say, hey, Kelsey, like, I'm here for you. You seem like you're having a hard time. Yes. Emotional, crazy. Just all us women are crazy. We're all witches. Burn us, drown us. Okay, so then I went next to my brother and my brother Brendan and my lifelong friend Aiden Ahern. Okay, well, we're doxing Aiden Ahern, I guess. She quickly did follow me downstairs, and angrily, I vividly remember her face turning red and her eyes bulging out of her head. Okay. She was whispering in my ear. She's like, get upstairs, you fucking asshole. I mean, that seems like she wasn't trying to make a scene. And she was like, get upstairs, you fucking asshole. I need you. Like I need you. I wanted to talk to you. Whatever happened. Okay, so then he does go back upstairs to the master bedroom. I was terribly scared of her reaction. And I did not know what she was going to do. This is a 107-pound woman. He's a firefighter. She was clearly angry about something. Did you ask? At that point, she was scared. I was scared of what she's going to do behind closed doors. On the way back upstairs, I whispered to my brother, I was like, I think I'm going to need your help. I don't know what's going to happen behind these closed doors. Who talks like that? Like, you're with your friend and suddenly they whisper to you, I think I'm going to need your help. I don't know what's going to happen behind these closed doors. I don't know what she's going to do, but she's very upset. She's swearing. She's yelling. Oh, foul language out of a woman. Huh. Well, I never. Like, there's a history of physical abuse. I was scared what she was going to do behind these closed doors. Okay. Then he just recalled, like, he was just continuously attempting to de-escalate and calm her down. Like, this was just all Kelsey, and he was just calming her down. As you'll hear on the 911 calls, if you haven't already, this is a very even and calm man. Yeah. He attempted to leave the room, and Officer Fitzsimmons stepped in front of him. Okay. She just said, like, don't, what? She just stepped there? Okay. Mr. Alain's brother knocked on the door and requested Mr. Alain come downstairs to discuss the events of the next day. Mr. Alain stated he again attempted to leave, but Officer Fitzsimmons stepped in his way to block him from leaving. This woman cannot take up half of a doorway, so, okay. He continued to attempt to leave the room, and then he indicated Officer Fitzsimmons then made an implied threat, so not a threat, implied threat of a false accusation of domestic violence to coerce him into staying in the room. I'm like, Kelsey, I'm not comfortable. I want to go downstairs. I don't think we should be having this conversation right now. You're not in the right state of mind. And she looks directly in the eyes and goes, but why would you leave me? You just closed my fingers in the door. That's where I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that never happened. We're nowhere near a door. Like, why are you making this up? And at that point, I'm like, I need to leave this room. Like, I need to get out of here right now. Okay, that is not a false accusation of domestic violence to say he closed my, even if she went to the police and she was like, my boyfriend, my fiance closed my fingers in the door. I don't think that's like really what domestic violence is, or DV. Sorry, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here. And then he says, I have never in my entire life acted physically towards a woman in an aggressive or hostile manner. Well, in her documents, she does say that she has video of him doing that. So there's that. I've never laid my finger in any sort of aggressive, again, or hostile manner on another female. So I'm not a deception detection analyst like Samantha Beningo or Sergio Denaro, but all he's saying here is I've never laid my finger on another female. He's not saying I never laid my finger on Kelsey. Just saying. My own family would disown me and shame me out of the family. It's not how I was raised. You don't do that. You never do that, no matter the circumstance. It was directly after I had replied to her, like, you're making this up. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, clearly he's an angel. Okay, so then she says that Kelsey punched him in the face 3 times. Okay. Just spoiler alert, later when they say, like, are you injured? He says, like, the corner of his eye hurt a little bit. So he has no marks or anything, but punched him in the face 3 times. I see her with her right fist. She clenches it into a fist. It's a closed fist. And at that point, I look at her. I'm almost like, are you really about to do what I think you're about to do? And I'm in fear of Kelsey getting violent, which she has done in the past. And with a closed fist, she strikes me 3 times in the face. I tell you the truth. I be honest right now. I did fear that she would not stop, and I was able to move around her. I did not touch a finger on her. What is with this finger thing? Like, this is how again, not a deception detection analyst, but I did not touch a finger on her. Like, you probably did actually put your hand up at one point and maybe like block her or something. That is touching a finger on her. So the fact that that's what he's saying is a lie, which makes me think he's lying. I was able to quickly move around her. I was able to quickly open the door. And at that point, with the door open and my brother at the door, Kelsey grabs me by the arm and rips me back into the room as hard as she can. And I'm just completely stunned at this point. Okay. Well, he's so stunned. So he leaves, and his friend Dave DeMasi, sorry that we're doxing Dave DeMasi too, drove to a motel and stayed overnight with him. Okay. So then the brother says that she grabbed him, blah, 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 blah. But this is the catalyst. So Mr. Lane stated in the early morning hours of June 29th, Officer Fitzsimmons' parents took custody of the baby. He says that he was afraid for the baby's life, blah, 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 because this is all BS. This is supposed to say Caden. I don't know why it says Kate, but this is what happened leading up to everything. He says, yeah. He's okay. So a bunch of times here, he says, like, I stated several times I needed space to process the events and I would not be staying at the house. I truly, truly believe, and I will show you these messages, which he did not submit the messages for this. There's a footnote that says that. But I'm curious now about these messages because the most recent filing from the Commonwealth for the criminal trial is they wanted to admit text messages. And like I said at the beginning, like, it's interesting because the criminal trial and this is the family court stuff. So this doesn't actually have to do with why she's on trial, but it's interesting now that they wanted to admit that. It doesn't seem like they called the police, although at one point I felt like there was like rumors swirling that the police were somehow involved in this incident in Maine. I haven't seen anything that says that they were. I haven't seen any like police report about it or anything. But yes, so this is all leading up. Also, if you have already heard the 911 calls, you'll remember that he says something about how he hasn't seen the baby in a few days. Well, this is the 29th. You only didn't see the baby in a few days because you were on your bachelor party, not because anybody was like withholding the baby from you. So then we're getting into the stuff we're going to get into in these documents. So we can go back to that in a little bit if we want to hear more of Justin's take on things. But back to the timeline. And hello, Fervent. I think we might need to make a Fervent song. Whoopsies. Trashing Justin, if I might put in a request, because I think he deserves it. So he goes to, this is actually after one of the calls, but he fills out a 209A abuse prevention order to request full custody of baby C. And he talked in his chicken scratch about what he's concerned about. It's important to note on this form that he lists his address as 28 Maple Street in Stowe. Keep that in mind. Okay.
North Andover Police and Fire called.
So this is his second. He calls 911 once. He asks for Whitaker. They don't connect. This is his second 911 call before he files that order.
Being recorded.
Hey, this is Justin again. I'm just calling Lieutenant Whitaker back. I just missed this call,
Can you
unfortunately.
hear that?
Yeah, Justin, it's me.
Oh, okay. How you doing, sir? I had a couple quick questions for you again.
Yeah.
So she's messaging me, telling me that she's planning on taking the baby up to the land in New Hampshire. Do I have any rights to make sure that she does not leave with that child?
At this point, I don't think we do.
No, he's her baby. You guys don't have anything filed, and you can take your kid to New Hampshire, to your parents' house in New Hampshire. He's acting like, yes, and that child. He's acting like he wants the reaction to be, oh my God, like she's fleeing to New Hampshire. We hear later that her parents are in New Hampshire at a house in Landon, New Hampshire. So that sounds like a lovely 4th of July.
I've spoken to my superior.
Yeah.
Filled him in on everything that we talked about, and we don't really have the right to deny her child.
Do I have any rights as a father to obtain my child since she's had him for?
Now, before this whiny baby says what he's about to say, I want everybody, we're going to do a little exercise. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine like the worst possible thing is happening. The person who you have entrusted with your child has threatened your child. Like they have made such a credible threat on your child's life that you're calling the police and you're trying to get that baby removed from that person who is threatening that child. Think about what you would say in those moments. Like I was just thinking when I was listening to this yesterday, like what I would say if I really thought like my child was in danger. I would be quoting the reason why. I would over and over. He said that she said she was going to do this. She said she has a this. She told me this. It would be direct quotes of exactly what he thought was going to happen and why he thought that. Instead, what you're about to hear is that he wants a turn. It was supposed to be his turn, and she took 2 turns in a row, and it was supposed to be his turn, and she skipped his turn.
Do I have any rights as a father to obtain my child since she's had him for several nights now? Do I have any right to, hey, this is the custody, we're both parents here. It's almost my turn to have the kid
My
for the night.
turn.
So I can know that he's safe and I can go file these after.
Now, and I won't keep interrupting, I'm sorry, but I want to talk about that where he just said, so that I know that he's safe. Knowing that your child is safe is different than I need to keep my child safe. So I was thinking this morning, like when I drop my son off at school, like I don't know for sure that he is safe the way that I know that he's safe when I'm standing next to him, but I'm not worried that he's unsafe. There are times that you don't know that your child is safe, but that you're not worried that they're in a dangerous situation. And if you were worried that they were in a dangerous situation, you wouldn't just be saying like, I want to turn with my baby so I know that he's safe. And also that part that he just said, he's asking, so he wants the baby, but then he also wants to go file these 209A papers. Like, just get off the phone, go do, and I don't want to rush him into doing this, which he does, but
through the police department, no, we don't have that ability. The only way that you would be able to do that if you spoke directly to her and said, you know, I'd like some time with the baby. And if she agrees to that, great. But it sounds like she's
not
probably
gonna
not
allow
going to be. Yeah.
I have my sister who
Hey
had a
there.
quick question for you as well.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of this, and so I'm on the page of we need to get the baby out of her hands like now, or something really bad could happen. And I know you guys.
Or something really bad could happen. Something really bad could happen all the time. Again, if you were actually worried, if she said something to them that made them fear for Caden's life, they would have more than something bad could happen. And also, like, you needed to put your sister on. Like, he's like, sis, I forgot my lines. What do I say next? She's like, I'll do it.
Talked a bit about this, but I am just wondering, is there any difference if she were to try to take the baby out of the state? Does that go against anything? Because that's what she's threatening with. Does the state matter at all? The state lines?
It really doesn't. It's her child.
It doesn't.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other question for you, because I think, we're talking about going to the courthouse. How do we, and especially because she is a police officer in this town and everyone talks, and I'm just wondering, if we go file this, how do we, because if she finds out that this is filed before it's being addressed, it's going to end really horribly. So how do we actually ensure, and I guess, do you know anything about that process? Would a police officer come with us or with Justin to the house to get the baby? If this is assuming the custody was ordered, that the restraining order and the custody were ordered, what does that look like? Because we're very worried she'd find out before it could actually take place.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then the way, if an order is granted, they will then email a copy of the order to us for service. So we would serve it and then enforce it. So it would be like, here's your restraining order. Per the order, custody of the child is awarded to Justin, in which case we would have to make arrangements, for him to come take the child.
So he would not be there when you're presenting that. I mean, this might be an obvious question, I guess, because if he has the restraining order, he shouldn't be there.
Probably
correct?
not.
Guys...
I mean, we should probably take care of that. It's okay if he wants to be close by, like, in order to take custody of the child quickly.
Yeah, right.
He could come if he's in town. We could then reach out to him and say, okay, she's been served. You can come pick up the child now.
Okay.
She's been served. You can come pick up the child now. It's like, I've had more urgency ordering a pizza delivery. Like, okay, your pizza will be ready in 15 minutes. We'll see you soon. After she's been served, then you can pick up the child now. Hello. And I felt like Lieutenant Whitaker at the beginning of this call was kind of like saying the right thing, like, well, we can't just take the baby. But then by the end of this call, it feels like he's like rooting for them. Like, okay, so like when you do this, then we're going to do that. And then all you have to do is file the paperwork and we'll get an email and then we'll go take the baby and we'll give it to you. And like, no, I won't. Nobody knows. I won't tell Kelsey. Okay.
One, just to, I guess, make sure, though, because I know you guys will get notified if there is an emergency order put through. She's an officer, of course. What does she have access to see? I'm just like, is there a way to flag this directly to?
So Jersey to GA just asked a good question. So they said, like, I told him Lieutenant Whitaker says, like, I told the captain or something like about everything that we talked about. So they must have had another conversation that was not on like the 911 recorded line, which is interesting. We don't have that call log or transcript or anything. And Justin does end up making more comments about the fact that these calls are recorded. He says like a couple of times, like, I'm glad these calls are recorded, which makes me think that he was intentional about which calls he made through the 911 dispatch if he did have a direct line to these people. Like, he chose which ones he wanted to be recorded. That's just my speculation, but that's what it seems like. Also, just a pause on this for a minute, just to kind of like fill in the timeline of what's going on in Kelsey's life right now. So Kelsey stayed at her house the night before with the baby and woke up, had to go by the police station because she was scheduled to return to work after she was on a I don't know if if anybody knows the answer to this, I don't know if she ever came back from maternity leave and then left again, because at this point, Caden's only 4 months. It's not out of the question that she would have just still been on maternity leave. But I do know that there was a conversation about like, she returned her guns, got her firearms back, whatever. So I don't know if there was a time where she went back to work and then left again for a postpartum depression, focus, whatever the word is. She hadn't gone. Because 4 months, if you have leave through FMLA plus whatever I'm sure they have decent union benefits, you can get up to 12 weeks for FMLA. And then I assume that the police have at least a month. Yeah. So she just hadn't gone back from maternity leave. So she was scheduled to return to work that following Monday. She went to the police station with the baby to go get her CPR recertified, because you have to do that. Everyone's taking pictures with the baby. Everybody's happy. Meanwhile, in the background, some of these people, I don't know if Whitaker's one of them, are like whispering about what's going to happen between Justin and them in a couple of hours. If they were really worried about Kelsey, they wouldn't have let her leave the police station with the baby. They would have noticed that. They would have asked her. They're trained for this. But she leaves CPR recertification and she goes to a park where Justin said that he wanted to meet so that they could walk around the park too, because, Justin's too scared to be in the house all by himself with big bad Kelsey. So they have to be in a public place in a park. So he says, I'll meet you there. And then he just never shows up. And she's like waiting in the park and walking around and playing with baby Caden. It was probably really cute. They were probably just like being adorable little mom and baby. And then he didn't show up. So she goes back home. And meanwhile, so this is all happening simultaneously, where Kelsey's thinking that, they'll be able to talk it out. Like at this point also, like, I think this is why a timeline is important. Like like we said earlier, like they're, not the least toxic couple there is. They fight. It is not out of the ordinary to think they could have made up from this. Like, I don't think that both of them were just automatically like, this is done forever. We're all, we're calling off the wedding. That's that. It doesn't seem like they had that conversation yet. I think he said like, I'm moving out. I'm staying at my parents', whatever it is. But it doesn't seem like in Kelsey's mind, she knew that like this relationship was fully over. From what like I can gather so far. Anyways, back to his whining. And this is him being nice.
It gets sent to the officer in charge. So nobody sees that except the officer in charge and anyone else who has access to that email, which she does not.
Okay, so that's reassuring. So I'm just trying to make sure there's no chance she could find out before this happened.
Did she catch wind while she was at the police station of anything occurring? Like,
nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. I didn't want to tip her off and give her the opportunity to do anything rash.
Thank you. All right, officer. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Now let's play another game where we envision what we would say in this situation. If somebody that you love who has your child right now and you're very worried, what would you ask the officer? Would it be, did she find out what I'm going to do to her? Or would it be like, how did she seem? Was she okay? Did she, like, sometimes if somebody's going through a really hard time mentally, they might not have like put themselves together before they left the house. Maybe you would ask like, did she look like put together? Was the baby's diaper clean? Like, was she okay? Was Caden okay? Did you notice anything? Did you talk to her about anything? No, none of that. Zero concern for how Kelsey or Caden, the baby you're so worried about. He did not ask once. How was the baby? He didn't even ask, like, was the baby at the station? Like, was the baby there? She's going through a really hard time mentally. Like, oh my God, did she leave the baby at home? Like, is something really dangerous happening that would prove that I need to take this baby immediately? No. And this is where I just can't, like Robin J said, that police department's lack of loyalty to Kelsey is mind-boggling. I cannot wrap my head around this. And like, I can't imagine, maybe it's, I'm just like seeing the best in people, but I can't imagine that they would just automatically be like, yes, Justin, whatever you say, we love you, we're on your side. I feel like Justin must have said some things in that kind of like off the record conversation that made them feel like he is actually I don't know. He doesn't seem that convincing, but they don't seem that worried about her either. So it's just weird that they would automatically take her side. It's also like, yeah, they're like bullies and they don't like women, but I think a lot of them have like wives and mothers that they can kind of like understand this situation, but clearly not. Okay, so then this is what happens next. Kelsey goes home and Justin files his 209A between 2:00 and 4:49. And they get that, like, this is how quickly they move. So he hadn't filed anything yet at the time that he just talked to Lieutenant Whitaker, and that was at 2:10. And now the order he filled it out in his chicken scratch. He handed it in. They said, okay, yep, we believe you. Go get your baby. And they emailed it over to these officers and they said, we have this order to take your baby, all in 2.5 hours. And I have such a hard time with the idea of that. And I have a hard time with these things where it's like a blanket statement, like this should never be allowed, this should always be allowed, whatever, because I imagine there is a situation where a baby is in such imminent danger that you need to move that quickly, that there is 1 second delay could mean the difference between like life and death. However, it feels like there should be one more level of like 3 police officers and a trained social worker to walk in first and have a conversation with the parent to see if the order is warranted. Because if this is how this normally goes, and it's not just because there's a relationship between the police and the fire department or whatever, I hope this video does not get shared to I hope that this case does not end up giving the wrong people some ideas, because it seems very easy if you're the dangerous parent in a relationship to just go do this and then put children in a really dangerous situation. Yes, and like de-escalating would even be I'll take that, but de-escalating is even with the idea that like we're still enforcing the order. It just feels like I know there's this whole ex parte thing where Kelsey doesn't have a chance to say anything, but just outside of this situation, the system in general feels like it is putting children at risk for the bad person in a situation to end up being able to so easily just take the baby and run. And I don't like that. Okay, anyway, so they're here. And like the way that Kelsey comes to the door, just this like breaks my heart, because like the baby is a part of her. Like that is a mother who loves her baby. And that is a mother that is taking very good care of her child. The doorbell rings and the baby comes to. He is a part of her. And the fact that none of those officers walked in, saw that situation, saw her like bonded with that baby and didn't think like, hey, maybe we should radio back and see if there's anything that we can do to like have Kelsey share her side of the story is devastating to me. Yeah. It's like the whole thing is just terrible. So that's the story we just told. Okay, so what happens next is what the criminal trial is all focused on. So everything up until this point is kind of what goes into what's going to happen with Justin in family court. And now we're shifting our focus to what the criminal trial is going to be about. So originally, Kelsey was charged. Okay, let's back up. So they say whatever they say. Hey, Kelsey, give us the baby. Justin will be here soon to take him. Hand him over. And she is blindsided. And she says, okay. And I guess just side note, the way that this works is that wouldn't be so that's a temporary order. Like if this all was operating in a system that she doesn't end up getting shot, she would have been able within the next 10 days to be seen in family court to share her side of the story and to come to some type of custody agreement or whatever. So the point wasn't that Justin just takes the baby and has full custody for the rest of his life. This was a temporary order, but we digress because she gets shot. So she says she's going to go upstairs and get some things for the baby. She's folding some clothes. They asked her, do you have any firearms in the house? She says they're in the basement. They don't go down to the basement to secure the firearms. They don't sweep the house like they would if they thought somebody was dangerous. They know she has firearms because she just got them back from their department. But then she just says, oh yeah, they're in the basement. And they're like, okay, cool. No big deal. Like we're upstairs. Like they're probably not up here. They were up there. Kelsey was, I don't know what word I'm allowed to say, but she put that to her head. Thank God, she's still here with us, because then Officer Noonan said, oh, you need some help with that? I'm not trying to that was a bad time for a joke, but seriously. So Officer Noonan claims that Kelsey pointed the firearm at him. She says that never happened, that she pointed it at herself. And here it says, whatever, I can't, that's too small. But basically he fires at her, he fires at her twice. He hits her once in the chest, and she's med flighted to Mass General Hospital in critical condition. This is from later on from her surgeon. This is what her injuries were. I'm not a medical person, so I'm probably not going to pronounce anything correctly, but there was a gunshot wound to the right hemothorax with retained bullet fragments in the right upper back, moderate right hemothorax requiring chest tube placement, right middle and lower lobe pulmonary contusions with active bleeding, grade 4 hepatic trauma with active bleeding from the right hepatic lobe. I don't know what any of this means. If there's anybody smarter than me, which is probably everybody in the chat, can you translate? It says comminuted, I don't know what that word is. Comminuted right posterior 12th rib fracture, right anterior 11th rib fracture at the costochondral junction. Nurse Kim, I need you. I don't know what any of that means, but this feels like, okay, a liver laceration. Yeah. It all sounds bad. I mean, just the thought of ever getting shot sounds awful, but it's bad. It's really bad. It's a miracle that she's here with us today. Yes, and Noonan was wearing gloves when he walked in the house on that surveillance camera. I should have pointed that out. Thank you. That was weird. The other two officers were not. But yeah, so her treatment course included multiple procedures. She was in the hospital for 54 days, including chest tube placement, the drainage of the something with the liver now, and something with a stent. It's her liver and her lungs. Thank you. I can't read anything now. It's like once I read one word, I can't read. Simnibus. My whole brain just shuts off. It's bad. It's really bad. So this is what we're going to learn more about in trial. I'm assuming that Noonan is going to testify, and the other two officers that were on the scene. It has come out that Noonan might have had some issues with substances, but we'll find out more. Okay, so that all happens. Justin's like, give me that baby, puts the baby in the car, leaves. That's that. Now he's at home in Stowe. And that night in Stowe at 9:30 p.m., Lieutenant Kelly Barheit sends an email, and she says, "Evening, everyone. There was an officer-involved shooting in North Andover this evening, where Officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons shot another police officer in her agency. This did not happen." And I will say, like, I don't know if this was a miscommunication to this lieutenant, if this was intentionally lying in this email, if this was a misunderstanding on her part. But I will just say there are a lot of inaccuracies in this email that she's sending to her whole department, whatever the reason for why there are. So she says, where Officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons shot another police officer in her agency after a restraining order was taken out by her boyfriend, Justin Elayan of 28 Maple Street of Stowe. It was involving a custody battle between Elayan and Fitzsimmons. There's not a custody battle at that point. And when her agency responded to her home to retrieve the firearms, also, no, they were retrieving the baby. She shot at the police officer, and Justin fled the home with the child. She has been med-flighted, and status at this time is unknown. MSP detectives, woohoo, the best of the best, have taken over the case. There is real concern that her parents will try and come to 28 Maple Street. Please make sure that there are checks several times per shift until otherwise notified. They go on for a long time, spoiler. These checks are to be logged. If a 911 call comes in, this residence has been flagged as a caution. Make sure you respond immediately and safely. The family is traumatized over the incident and are afraid right now for the safety of Justin and infant Caden. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, now this is 2 days later, 30 days has September, April, June. Yeah, so Kelsey's in the hospital. We're not checking on Kelsey. Now Justin's like, okay, I don't have any diapers. I apparently can't go to Target and go get some diapers. I need to go into the house. So he calls the North Andover Police Department again, and this is that call.
Northern Police and Fire, this call is recorded.
Hi, this is Justin Elayan. I'm on the North Andover Fire Department. I am off duty right now. I do need to speak with the OIC.
Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second, please.
The family was traumatized.
Hey, is this Justin?
Yes, this
Hey,
is.
it's Katie. How are you? I mean, that's a silly question, but I digress. I do care.
No, I'm doing as well.
Thinking about you guys. Yeah. So what can I do for you, Justin? What's that?
I need to discuss my options of retrieving all of my belongings from Phillips Brooks.
Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. Well, it's your house, so
it's not. No, it is not. It is Kelsey's house.
Assuming that you can make whatever arrangements if you just want us to because let's just say if this were a scenario we deal with in any other case, with restraining orders, there's nothing barring you from returning to your own property except for your own safety. So I can't, we don't have any jurisdiction, and we don't even navigate about mutual property. So when we get restraining orders, people have to, commonly the defendant would ask it's different in this case because
the defendant,
you may be in stow, from what I understand. But any property that's in there is between you.
She said, you're in stow from what I understand. It's not his property. He filled out all the paperwork that they have on their end. He listed 28 Maple Street as his residence, which is different than if he was just cooling off at his parents' house. And you would know which of those two scenarios you were dealing with by looking at his paperwork and seeing that he no longer lists North Andover as his residence.
Kelsey and civil courts. It doesn't have anything to do with us. We have no jurisdiction to say what can't be removed, what can be removed.
So am I able to go to the house with a bunch of fire buddies and remove my belongings?
Yes. We have no jurisdiction on that. I don't, are you in communication with her family and things like how?
No, I am in no communication with her family.
She was asking for a call.
Yeah. Do you know if they're at the house at all? That would be my only thing. If you wanted to go, if you feel like they're there, and I mean, it's your house. So truly, you can go in there anytime you please. And let's just say, hypothetically, they were there and they get all bent out of shape about that. What you could do is just call us for us to explain that to them.
So my only concern would be, I know they're
like, even this entitled little man is like, whoa, I think you're going like one step too far. Like, it's not actually okay. Wait a second. Like, he's like, you're giving me a lot.
Blaming me for a lot of the situation.
Yeah, I get it.
They are there. For the potential retaliation or any of the sort.
Yeah. So you could play it however you want it to play it. I'm going to leave that up to you. One option would be to shoot them at.
Yes, she's still sergeant there. And she had recently before this actually sued the department because of the way that they mistreat women. And she was granted a settlement that was actually supposed to pay out between like that time and maybe now. So it seems like she was very aware that the environment was toxic, especially towards women. And then she said, if you can't beat them, join them, in my opinion.
Text or anything, and like, just so you know, I'm going back to the house to pick up some belongings.
They would
say no, absolutely not.
I'm pretty sure they would show up.
Yeah. Okay. So what you may want to do is just go do what you got to do. I can't keep you from there, nor would I want to. It's your house as well. It's your property.
So it's technically the deed is in her name.
Sure. But you're like
obviously a resident of that house.
Yes, you have legal standing in there as far as the civil courts are concerned. You have keys, you have access. I know you live there. We know you live there.
Okay, trigger warning. The baby's about to start crying. It's like so sad because he just stays on the phone. She's already answered your question. Get off the phone and help your baby, but no. And also, she's like, you have keys. Well, no, actually, the locks were changed because it's not his house anymore. But baby Kaden.
We're not going to stand in your way from collecting your property. If you go and do your thing, and just if you get there and someone's there, we can, before you even go into the house, you could call us and, meet us over at the school parking lot area and be like, they're there right now. Can you send someone by to keep the peace? And we'd be happy to do that for you. We do that all the time. Especially if the roles are reversed. If you had been asked to leave the house, we do this all the time where, the person who has resided there has a legal right to grab things.
Yeah, I'm just going to get as many friends as I can and get out of there as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, so if you end up being there and either if they're there already, my suggestion.
Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to the next call in a minute. I'm also going to post all of these now. I cut out the hold music and kind of combined a couple of them that the calls didn't connect. So I'll post all of them if you want to go back and listen to them. But I want you to just pay attention to his demeanor and his tone of voice there. So that's at 9:45 a.m. on July 2nd. He doesn't end up going over that day. Not entirely clear why. But then he calls the next morning at 7. He's up bright and early. It's 7 something a.m. So now this is that.
Recorded. Hey, this is Justin Alain, off-duty firefighter. Can I speak to your OIC?
Hold on, sir. Please.
Lieutenant Solis, can I help you?
Hi, this is Justin Alain. I'm going to 125 Phillips Brooks to retrieve all of my belongings today with other members of the fire department. I had spoken to Sergeant Gerke yesterday about what would happen if she said I had full authorization to retrieve all of my belongings, and if her family shows up to call for a police officer. Given the intense nature of what has happened in that house and what her family has already been trying to do, I need to request a police officer is there at 9:30 when I show up.
Okay.
We're going to be there for 2 hours, and given the potential and the intense nature of what happened there, I don't know what has happened. I don't know what they're going to do, and I'm going to have to request that a police officer is there.
Okay. Yeah, we have. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Whoops, clearly didn't cut that one.
I want that noted because I will. I'm going to have it noted that if
there's any issue at all, we'll be there momentarily.
All right, I'm going to have it noted that.
So this lieutenant says we're short-staffed, so we can't get you your own personal escort. But call us if there's an emergency, which is also what my son is learning in preschool.
If something does happen, I requested 2 times for a police officer to be there from the beginning. I want that noted because I will escalate this further because this is not right from given the situation that occurred in that house and the potential for something else to happen. My family should have never been in that position in the first place. Now I'm requesting something that is shit that should be placed there, and you're telling me no several times. That right there is not right.
Justin, it's Katie. We spoke yesterday.
We did speak yesterday. We did speak yesterday. But given the intense nature of this situation and what could occur.
Also, I was just Googling to see if there's somewhere that says when to request a police escort. If there's an intense nature of where did the word intense nature came from something? And he was like, okay, intense nature. And that's in his script. But listen to the way just being told no, the answer was you asked for a favor, you asked a question, the answer was no, and that the correct response is okay, thank you so much, or okay, I actually am too afraid to go do this right now. Well, I'll try to think of another solution. Somebody that gets this angry and this. Yeah, strange credulity said, what she didn't say is go ahead and bust the door down and smash out the alarm and security system. Apparently that's what he heard. But the tone of his voice and you can feel it. I can feel the rage simmering and it's going to continue to come to a boil. But that makes me think that a lot of his innocent act of, I've never said anything mean in my life. Can't possibly be true.
I'm gonna be there for 2 to 3 hours. I know what her father's capable of. I know what could happen.
But
Social media are there. I'm just telling you.
I understand the stressful situation, but what we spoke to yesterday was that we weren't going to prevent you from going in the house, but if something happened, you could call us right away and we'd be there. That was what we spoke.
Okay, no, we did speak about that, and after thinking about it again, I wanted to make my concerns noted 2 times. So if something does happen, if something does occur, this will be noted, and I have no problem escalating it further. I appreciate your time. Thank you, and have a good day.
What time are you heading over there?
I will be there at 9:30 with 5 or 6 other men. It's going to take a couple hours.
Shout out to his friends that didn't show, because he only shows up with 3. So shout out to those 2 that were like, dude, you're being really creepy. I'm not breaking into your ex-fiance's house.
All right. Well, that. There was no formal request at a certain time, Justin. I understand.
I understand that. I went through Crystal as well. I asked Crystal. Crystal said she would ask as well. That I never coming back to me. The formal request. I called yesterday. You gave me this information. I'm calling again this morning, and I'm telling you that you guys do last minute details every single day. This is a last minute detail. Yesterday would have been a detail that was not last minute.
Would you like a detail?
I am not paying for a detail.
Okay. All right,
my family should have.
You're not paying for a detail. Well, if you're that worried, if you think that your life is going to be in danger, how much does a detail cost? $100? If you need a detail this badly, you pay. He just doesn't like the fact that he was told no, and that he's not getting everything that he wants. And for people in the chat saying, why 3 hours, right? You want to go in and get your clothes. You're not packing up boxes. I mean, everything about this is enraging. And the fact that none of this is actually what's kind of bugging me now. The fact that none of the officers on the other line of any of these calls were like, hey, Justin, you know what? We're going to come see you right now because you don't seem safe. You don't seem okay. Is the baby okay? Is the baby now in a safe situation? Because you don't sound safe. You sound too angry. Maybe not at this moment, but later. We took your baby from somebody you said was dangerous, but you sound like the dangerous one. And you sound like we're just going to send DCF to do a wellness check. You sound like actually you're threatening Kelsey's dad, and you shouldn't be somewhere that he might be because that will create an unsafe situation. The fact that none of them try to de-escalate anything and he's just spiraling, getting angrier and angrier is just off to me.
Never been in that situation. My child and myself should have never happened. I will absolutely.
My child and myself should have never happened. You're not even making sense anymore.
Whatever I have to do. If I'm saying that I don't feel comfortable and I don't want to put my brother again, my friends into a situation where something could occur, or if you knew what happened, I don't know what her family would be capable of at this point. They've already filed negligence against me as the father when there has been nothing. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they would be capable of. But if you want to wait and find out, that is on you. And I am glad this is a recorded line.
Okay.
So I will be there at 9:30. If you do not have someone there, all of my concerns have been noted. Thank you for your time and goodbye.
Like Willy Wonka. Good day, sir. Okay. So, just like Katie said, it's your house. You have the keys. You can go do whatever you want. Well, how do you guys get into your house? It's just like Michael Proctor thinks that the only way that you can take off your shoes is to get hit by a car. Apparently, even when it's your house and you have the keys, the only way to get into a house is to break down the door, literally break the door, and force your way in. Because why not? Gross. Yeah, he sounds like he was saying things so that if he went on the attack at any point during this, that he would like be covered because he noted it twice on a recorded line. And also, like, why are we dressed like a sixth grader? So, yes, you needed to go to the house to go collect your things for your baby that you care so much about. What are we doing in the basement? Creeps. Like they're in there with a game plan. And so the timestamp here is 9:36. Okay. Note that 9:36. Now at 9:38.
This is Justin Land. I need to speak to the OIC.
I'm sorry, who is
There's
this?
the alarm going off in the background.
Oh.
And I'm going to skip ahead just a little. The calls go through like his Bluetooth in his car by
Hello,
accident.
Justin? Hello, Justin. Yeah, so you said that you were over on Phyllis Brooks gathering some belongings?
Yep. Grabbed my belongings. The alarm did go off. They had changed the locks. The alarm did go off. Her dad has he set the full system up. He has everything. He's going to know the alarms went off, and I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be driving down from New Hampshire to show up here.
Okay. Whereabouts from New Hampshire would he be coming from?
He's up in the not the Rochester. I forget exactly what town he's in. He's probably about 40
He knew it
minutes
was
away.
Landon a few days ago.
I don't know if he's coming, but I have no doubt in my mind that man is going to come down with a vengeance.
I don't know if he's coming, but I have no doubt in my mind that he's coming down with a vengeance. Okay. Well, why wouldn't he? They just changed the locks on purpose. They set the security system up on purpose, and you just broke into a house that you don't live in anymore. Now, coming down and being angry is different than coming down with a vengeance. I don't think there's anything to indicate that. Let's just think about this for a second. Kelsey's dad is worried about Kelsey in the hospital. Kelsey's dad is worried about the baby who has just been essentially state-sanctioned kidnapped by this angry man. Her dad is not coming down to take out Justin and his 3 friends. Like, that is not how normal people operate. He just wants his baby's house to be safe, and he wants his grandbaby to be safe.
Okay. I mean, do you think that
I called 2 times. My family should have never been in this position. I called 2 times, once yesterday, once today, and I'm asking for a detail down
I called
here
2
for
times.
2 hours. If that's
1 plus
something
1
that
is
you guys
2.
cannot do, I will gladly escalate the situation. This is ridiculous.
Sir, you already escalated this. I will escalate the situation. You are starting at the top of the escalator. You have escalated this already because most people would not have done what you're doing. You broke into a house. You're robbing a house you don't live in of your ex-fiance. Escalate the situation. Yeah, he doesn't sound okay. Also, he's like, I called once yesterday and once today. That's 1 plus 1. That's 2 times I called. Okay, I'm so sorry. You had to make 2 phone calls all by your big bad self.
I mean by escalate the situation?
I will go to the media. I will do whatever I have to do to ensure my family's safety, my brother's safety here, and 2 firefighters that are here. If his family comes down.
What are you going to say to the media? Hey, WCVB, I broke into my ex-fiance's house and they won't give me my own personal police officer to make sure that I can steal all her stuff before her dad gets here.
They are absolutely going to be doing something.
Okay.
And if you're saying there's no resources for this, it's insane.
If you need a detail, I can put a detail out.
I will not be paying for a detail given the circumstances of this. You can bring this to the chief. Please bring it to someone because I am not paying a cent for this. This is ridiculous. Given the circumstances and the escalation of this situation, you not providing a detail and having it be your guys' idea is unbelievable.
We can provide a detail, but you're going to be charged for it.
I will not be charged for that. You know what? I am glad this is the third time this is happening, because when something does happen at this location, it is going to be all on that department. Once again, this is unbelievable.
Justin, when he gets there, just call us and we'll send it off.
Now, why, Lieutenant Whitaker, are you not asking, what are you planning to do? Like, why are we not taking that like a true threat? Because so far, that's the only thing that actually sounds dangerous in this entire situation.
We're over there to keep the peace.
That's not how it's going to go down, but thank you for your time.
Okay. Well, Kelsey's dad did get there, and he wasn't on like a murderous rage. Justin actually says that he hugged him. I don't know that this man ever tells the truth, but maybe that he's kill him with kindness, because everything that he was just freaking out about did not happen. Also, this is when I'm going to start going 100 miles an hour, because I only have in like 20 more minutes. Okay, so the next day, that same Stowe police officer who sent that email with a whole bunch of nonsense that didn't really happen in it to the department gets a text message from Justin's mom, Lisa. Morning, Kelly. It's Lisa Lay and Justin's mom. Which, like, so I'm assuming when I think of like a mom saying like Justin's mom, I'm picturing like, does Kelly have a son that like Justin grew up with, or because it's like, are Justin and Kelly friends? Like, what is that? What's the relationship? Anyways, I hope you get to enjoy the 4th of July with your family. I just wanted to give you an update. After interviewing several lawyers, we finally found one last night that we really like. He told us that charges are set. It should be on the news today. Kelsey is being charged with armed assault to murder and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. Guess what? The grand jury ends up hearing that and says, no, that's not really what happened. We can't indict her on all those. And then they just indict her on assault with a dangerous weapon, which she's already served more jail time than would even have happened if she was convicted. Okay. So that was out of order. Okay. So now we're going to jump ahead a whole bunch. So... oh, wait. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. So now Kelsey is recovering in the hospital, and she is charged like Lisa Lane said, and she's arraigned on the charges that she just said. The grand jury hears it and indicts her on 1 count of assault by means of a deadly weapon. And this is so that's everything. We've already said this part. I don't want to repeat myself. She's arraigned in the hospital because she's still recovering, but eventually she is moved to a correctional facility. And then on August 28th, she is granted release from custody. So you would think that she went home on August 28th, but no, she went home on September 8th. Apparently they had to figure out the conditions of her bail. And one of those conditions of her bail is that she needs to blow into this thing that's called a scram device 4 times a day, and it's to monitor alcohol. So she got shot. She's the one charged. And I've been thinking about this where it's like, well, she's the one who got hurt, but like, why is she the one also facing charges? There is a situation where it's like a bank robber gets shot in the act of like robbing a bank, and they're recovering in the hospital, but also they're the ones that are on trial. Like that part of it is not out out of the ordinary. But in this case, it is because she literally didn't do anything wrong. So she has to blow into this scram device. And it's not just like, it's like takes a ton of lung capacity. I'm picturing it's kind of like blowing up a balloon because they have to get enough of a sample that they can detect if there's alcohol in your body. And she has to do this 4 times a day. It takes a picture of you while you're doing it, and there's GPS on it so that nobody else could do it for you, blah, blah, blah. She's not drinking. She's recovering from getting shot. But so she does that for a couple days, and it's like tearing her open inside that she can't blow into that scram device. So Bradel goes back in to file a motion to say, can we change the way that she's monitored for alcohol? Like, can she do a urine test? Can she do something else that, and basically he said, like, if not, no biggie, we'll figure it out. Just want to see if there's other options. And Judge McCarthy Naiman was like, yes, sir, there are other options. You can go back to jail because there's no alcohol in jail. Bye. And literally put her back in jail. I have a little comedic relief now. There was no video of that hearing, but I made my own video and it's pretty accurate. So enjoy. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Timothy Bradel on behalf of Kelsey Fitzsimmons. She's present in the court. I've received the defendant's motion for emergency release from the scram order. Thank you so much, Your Honor. Kelsey has been passing the alcohol testing, but the scram method has been causing her hours of pain and dizziness. So I see this as a simple adjustment of term. I don't see it that way. If she cannot or will not be alcohol-free, then that changes everything. She's happy to be alcohol-free. We just want to adjust the method of testing to one that doesn't cause her pain because she's still recovering from being shot. Okay, so you're asking the court to adjust an order that's been in effect for 3 days with no evidence about the fact that she cannot do it? Well, you have 2 affidavits and the email from probation. An email from a probation officer? The court gives that 0 weight. What evidence do I have that she has broken ribs? The other day, I submitted instructions from Mass General about her broken ribs. Okay, I want to hear about the one that she had difficulty with. I don't want to conflate having difficulty with passing. She's had difficulty with every scram test, but I'm more than happy to submit this that says that she's passed every test. It's not about more than happy. Either you're doing it or you're not. My job as the probation officer is that when we have an incomplete test, I need to gather more information, which is that she is in genuine pain. What I have in front of me is an incomplete test at 3:09. So it says that the test was attempted, but she was unable to blow for as long and hard as she needed to, and the test was eventually completed at 3:50. Commonwealth, do you want to object? This wasn't non-compliance. She took the test and doesn't have alcohol in her system. Well, that's your position. It's really up to me. Your email is excluded. I just want to clarify, Officer January, nobody is asking you questions. Your testimony is complete. We just want Ms. Fitzsimmons to submit to alcohol testing. Mr. Bradel, is Ms. Fitzsimmons able to do the scram? That depends if the court is willing to tolerate. The court is not tolerating anything. Let's be clear. I am not tolerating anything. Ms. Fitzsimmons is a defendant. My order is that she submit to a scram. Can she do it or not? She can do it, but with significant pain and dizziness. And I would submit that there's other ways that are not torture. It's not the court's intention to torture Ms. Fitzsimmons. We just want to make sure that Officer Noonan is safe. Well, that's an Eighth Amendment issue, I suppose. I would submit that there are alternatives to scram, like urine test and other things like that. Okay, I'll be right back. I've reviewed everything, and because we obviously don't want Fitzsimmons to be subjected to cruel and unusual punishment, the prior order is vacated and I order her to be held without bail. That's the court's order. Bye-bye. So yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it went. And then she went back to jail until the day before Christmas. Absolutely absurd. I have 10 more minutes, so I'm going to fly through all of this. While she's now re-incarcerated, Justin, she's selling her house to pay for her legal bills, and also probably because why would she ever want to go back there? Justin's like, ooh, money. I love money, and I will not ever spend it on anything that I need to. So he files for, among other things, like the temporary orders for custody and child support and health insurance, blah, blah. He also includes a motion to attach real estate for the payment of child support. So she's selling her house to support her legal fees, and he says, no, I will keep our baby forever, and all the money from the sale of your house will go to me. That didn't end up happening, but just shows you where his head was at. Then in November, Kelly and Lisa are texting more. Lisa's like, was that you that just drove by? And Kelly's like, no, it's my day off. And she's like, oh, well, like when you drive by, you should come in. I don't have that relationship with the police in my town. Just saying, maybe I should. She finally gets released in December, home for the holidays. This was a very nice press release that says, Miss Fitzsimmons' journey home was made possible by her resilience. Like, thinking about what she's been put through, like, yes, that is exactly what happened. She was allowed to go back to house arrest at her parents' house, and still was not allowed to see her baby. She still has not seen her baby. Now it's January, and the baby is getting baptized, and we have to reach out to Kelly again. Good morning, Kelly. I hope you're having a good week. I'm reaching out because Monday, Justin is having the baby baptized at Isidore's at 4 p.m. It's only us immediate family, the deacon and his wife, our foster child, Milani, and also, like, Milani is now in your family. You're fostering her, so she is in your family. The fact that she separates her, like our family and Milani, something about that also just rubs me the wrong way. She ends up adopting this child, and it's like, why are you bringing another child into your family, but also not thinking of her as part of your family? But so she says, Kelsey's stepsister, Maddie, is allowed to be there. She's the only one. And then she's very worried that they might show up. Guess what? They haven't showed up at any of these things that you were so worried about every single time. And they're not going to, because they're normal and they're following the rules. And it's really kind of just like, I hate these situations where the person who's doing the right thing is the one who ends up losing, because like, we live in a society where there are rules for a reason. And even if they don't feel exactly the right rules or whatever, if everybody follows them, then it should work out the right way. And it feels like they get to skirt the rules and they're winning. And Kelsey's following the rules and her family's following the rules. And they're the ones that are getting hurt. And they don't seem to be. I hope that that's starting to shift. And I hope that that's kind of the direction where we're headed now, as evidenced by this last part of our timeline for now, which is that Justin was placed on paid leave, which it's like a Sergeant Good situation. You start on paid leave, but he's on paid leave pending an investigation. And I'm not a legal scholar. That's our last one. Whoopsies. But why can't I do this? But it seems like, so I said earlier that the family court stuff is kind of separate from the criminal court stuff. And in the last hearing, it felt like Bradel kind of crossed over a little bit. from talking about just what applies to Kelsey's criminal case to also sharing some information from the family court stuff, like those videos of Justin on the surveillance footage. And it felt like it didn't directly apply, but he wanted it out there so that then they were able to take action. And I like that move a lot, because if they're not going to follow the rules, then we just find some ways to skirt those rules a little bit. It felt also in the past few hearings like Bradel really has like embraced Kelsey, not just as somebody that he's representing, somebody whose case he wants to win, but he seems really emotionally invested in her like full success in life. Like he seems like he really has kind of like adopted her as his own, and really loves and cares about her. I need to do this really quickly now because then I need to go pick up Carter. Karen DuPasquale said, love you for doing this, Emily. I love you guys for caring about this, because it really does feel like it's something that's so important. And like we've said in other cases, like if we're not paying attention to it, then people like the Alayans are able to just get away with everything that they want. And when we have our eyes on this, when we care, it makes it a lot harder for people to get away with the things that they're trying to get away with. Karen Lisk said, okay, my eyes are still closed and his sister sounded like Kay Peter. That's funny. I opened my eyes real quick. See you Monday the 23rd, y'all, at the select board meeting after court. Emily, come with us. I would love to try to do that. I am going to go to the first day on Monday, if anybody else is going to be there. I am kind of hoping for a bench trial now, for a number of reasons. The judge seems good and fair, and it will go faster. And if I go on Monday, then I won't just be seeing like jury selection, but we would actually see the start of the trial, which I would like to do. Prince of Wales sent $4.99 and said, oh, gee willikers, by golly, just knock down a door or two with your little buddy, sneak in and grab that nice TV while you're in there, don't you know? Yeah, that's directly from the transcript. And Linda Richards sent $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to just like race out at the end of this, but I need to go pick up my child. I am hopeful that things are really going to start working out for Kelsey. Oh, actually, one more thing. Also, the judge in the last hearing lifted some of her bail restrictions. So now she's able to move out of her parents' house. She got a place in Newburyport, which is like a very nice town on the water. It's beautiful. And she paid for 12 months of her rent up front. Meanwhile, Justin's whining about a $100 police detail, and he's living in his parents' house. And I would trust Kelsey with my own child, and I would not trust Justin to be in society. So there's that. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I appreciate you all so much, and I can't wait to get on here again in a little while and hopefully share some good news about what's going to end up happening for Kelsey. Thank you all for caring. Have a great day.
If you need a place to breathe, some stress to just relieve, then come watch Emily C, where we keep it drama free. We want justice for John O'Keefe, Aiden and Kelsey, waved bye bye to Morrissey. Let's clean up Norfolk County. Emily C, the one we need, reading sidebars with Corey, writing heck diaries, giving the people what they need. It's my pleasure to entertain, keeping you laughing makes my day. Positivity all the way. Why do we tell Satan not today? And now it's time to say goodbye, but before we say goodnight, just keep